Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Matt Burney are taking a look at race number 7 at Saratoga on Travers Saturday. It's the Grade 1 Personal Ensign. It's a Breeders' Cup win and you're in. Part of the Breeders' Cup Challenge Series. This for the Longines Distaff. Here's the feel for the Personal Ensign. You're going to see two big names right off the bat, beginning down towards the inside. Abel Tasman for Bob Baffert. Mike Smith, multiple Grade 1 stakes winner, coming off a career best buyer performance in the Ogden Phipps. What'd you think of that effort, Matt?
I thought she was awesome, to be honest with you, and maybe this is just her running style now. We thought last year at Saratoga when she made that wild brush up the backside that maybe she's a little bit uncontrollable, but guess what? That's kind of what she's developed into. She did it in the Phipps again, and she went on and won by 100 lengths. The 100 buyer, obviously, that makes her a major player. I had a very difficult time with this race. I said it to you before we came on. Between her and Illate, they're obviously the two best horses in the race. Neither of them beat a very talented horse in their most recent start, at least based on what the race has come back thus far. And I think, to me, that makes it that much more difficult to analyze how good their performances actually were.
That's truly a fair point. And Abel Tasman, you know, at times can be a little bit quirky. She can pull, she can get rank, she can get eager. The last time she faced Illate at Saratoga was in the Coaching Club American Oaks at this distance. It was sort of a tale of two trips, that big middle move with Abel Tasman pulling Mike Smith almost out of the saddle on the backstretch. Illate down towards the inside, in behind horses, and they really gave a thrilling stretch drive. Abel Tasman winning by a head. We've got to give the great Bill Mott some credit for Illate, though. I mean, boy, coming off what? An 8-month layoff at 1.25 miles. I know it wasn't the strongest edition of the Grade 2 Delaware handicap, but that's not an easy feat. And Illate won, it was like breaking sticks. And I wonder if it was just the start, a nice starting off point to a big second half of this season.
Look, I love Illate. I think there's really, this is the kind of filly, you look at her, she looks like an absolute mammoth out there on the racetrack, and she runs like it as well, and she just dusted an overmatched field there. But I think you bring up an important point. Realistically, how much could you have expected from her at 10 furlongs off of such a long layoff? I think you get a forward move here, and she's obviously one of the horses to beat. Again, though, I'm curious. She beat such a bad field in that Delaware handicap. Did she get a heck of a lot out of it other than the 10 furlongs? Because, again, you know that that's going to tighten her up a little bit.
It was a nice ride from Jose Ortiz. Not a lot of pace early. Illate a bit sluggish coming out of the gate off the layoff. He got her into the race with a mid-race move, and the class and ability of Illate took over after that. I want to see your take on this Timeform U.S. pace projector, because I have to admit, I was kind of stunned to see Abel Tasman kind of far back here down towards the inside. If this works out, I could certainly see Abel Tasman maybe getting a little rank and not being happy down in behind horses.
Yeah, and that's kind of when I went through the race, I looked at it, and everybody can tell that Farrell, she is very clearly the one that wants to go out there and set terms, and we'll talk about the Chuvie here momentarily. But with a combination of She Takes Heart, the number 2 horse, stretching out in distance, I would assume that she's in here for one reason and one reason only, to help set a legitimate pace. And then with Abel Tasman, again, it just feels like this has turned into her thing. She makes that big brush up toward the front end. I can't help but think it's going to be an honest pace. I don't think it's going to be fast, but I don't think they're going to be crawling out there.
Farrell, though, likely will be on the lead. She earned millionaire status with her most recent win in the Grade 3 Chuvie, and that's really been kind of the story of her career. When she's placed in the right spots by her shrewd trainer, Wayne Catalano, she makes bank. It's interesting that after 17 races and 8 wins and $1 million in the bank, her best buyer's a 91.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think she's fast enough to win a race like this. I think she had everything go her way in the Chuvie. And the other thing, too, that I need to couple in, I don't think this distance is really what she wants. I know she won at it last time. I've always thought she's better at 1 mile to 1 mile and a 16th. I think she's out there as a pace factor, but then I think when the real running starts, she's going to come up wanting.
You mentioned She Takes Heart. She's 50 to 1 on the morning line for a reason. She's taking a big stretch out in distance, a big hike in class. She was claimed for 62.5 3 starts back. She's hard to recommend.
One of 2 in here for Luch, and I would imagine she's the one trying to set the pace for the other Luch horse, Furiously Kissed.
And that could certainly hurt a horse like Farrell if she is really sent out on a mission. As for Furiously Kissed, like Illate in the Delaware handicap, she tried to rally from off a slow pace. She was just no match for Illate at 77 to 1 odds. I'm not sure how it's going to be any different, but this is an honest mare and a really sharp 62.5 claim who's turned into a Grade 1 placed runner, and it has enhanced her broodmare status.
Yeah, and I think that's probably what the connections are hopeful for again here. If you can get another Grade 1 stakes placing, take her back, make one run, maybe the pace heats up even more so than we think.
Let's take a look at our top pick for the Grade 1 Personal Ensign Stakes. I like Abel Tasman, but I want to hear your take on Wow Cat. She tasted defeat for the first time in her career in start number 9, her first start in North America, her first start in Chad Brown. But I love the try she showed in that race. I mean, it was her first start off a really long layoff. Farrell got loose on the lead, and Wow Cat kept grinding it out and grinding it out. And if you think this pace is going to be solid, why can't Wow Cat sit the catbird seat in third?
And I think, and maybe I'm overdoing this as far as listening to certain quotes and things of that nature, but Chad Brown prior to that race talked about Wildcat like she could be a legitimate threat for a race like the Breeders' Cup Distaff. So I'm sure they were a little bit disappointed with the Shuvi, but like you say, with the try that she showed, she never quit. When it looked like on the far turn she might end up running 3rd or 4th. And I just think, look, she hadn't started since the beginning of December last year. She probably needed a race at 1 1/8, first time into new country, first time against proper graded stakes caliber runners. We don't know what she was facing down there in Chile. I think she takes a step forward here. Now, is it good enough to beat Abel Tasman or Elate? Maybe, maybe not. We'll find out. But I think she's going to offer a much more appetizing price. And who knows? If she takes a step forward, maybe she's the right horse.
Give me numbers.
I'm going to go 4, 6, and 1.
I think the key to this race is whether Abel Tasman is willing to settle after breaking from the rail under Mike Smith. If she does, obviously she has a big chance. If she doesn't and she's in behind horses, she might be climbing. She can't jump over the top of them, and she might be in a little bit of trouble. But I really liked the way she won the Phipps last time out. She looked like the Abel Tasman of old, allaying some fears after finishing off the board in the Grade 1 La Troyenne. I'll go 1, 6, 4, 5 in the Grade 1 Personal Ensign, part of the Breeders' Cup Challenge Series. A win and you're in for the Longines Breeders' Cup Distaff.